this is Natasha, and I'm back with another Katie story. This time, it's all about a witch playing another witch. Katie's town had a theatre, a grand old building with steps and white pillars. A long time ago, it had been a musical hall, featuring jolly songs and chorus girls. In Katie's time, when she was little, she used to go to pantomimes there. The tradition was that men would dress up as women and girls would play the part of boys. All the children used to shout, "Behind you!" when the villain, Long John Silver, was creeping up on young Jim Hawkins. So, Katie had fond memories of the theatre, and she was sad when it closed its doors 2 years ago. It seemed people didn't want to go to the theatre anymore. They were too busy at home playing Nintendo or watching Pix Flicks. So she was really pleased when Isis saw her at the school break time and told her, "Guess what? The theatre's reopening." "Oh, that's great! What are they putting on?" "Well, that's the thing," said Isis excitedly. "It's a musical about a schoolgirl who's secretly a witch. Isn't that amazing?" "I suppose you're going to say her name is Katie." "No, but she's in love with a boy called Paul." "Who says coincidences don't happen?" "That's not a coincidence, because I'm not in love with Paul. We're just good friends." "Well, seriously," insisted Isis. "You should audition for it. Then we can come and watch you on stage." "Me singing and dancing? You've got to be kidding," replied Katie. "You've got a great voice," said Isis, "and you've always been a natural at dancing. I'm so envious. If I had a quarter of your talent, I would apply like that," she said, and she snapped her fingers as if she was doing a magic spell. But of course she wasn't, because Isis did not have any magical powers. But Katie did. And people who are good at magic are often artistic by nature. Music flowed through her like magic. Isis, by contrast, was not at all musical. When she was little, her mother made her do violin lessons. And she was so terrible that her teacher begged her to put down her instrument and never play again. Then her mother sent her to ballet classes. She loved dressing up in pink ballet clothes and shoes. But when it came to dancing, she had 2 left feet and she stepped on the other kids' toes. So as it turned out, even though Isis wanted to be perfect at everything in life, she just couldn't be. Because nobody can. "I would just love to be on stage," she said dreamily, "with a spotlight on me. I would open my mouth and all these pretty notes would fly out and fill the theatre. Then everyone would adore me. And when I finished my song, they would stand up and applaud and throw flowers on the stage." Katie could see that her friend really wished she could sing. "I'll tell you what," said Katie. "I'll find a musical magic spell for you, and if it works, you can do the audition." "I'll do it if you do too," said Isis. "It will be more fun if we are in the play together." So Katie agreed. The call for auditions was the following Saturday morning. About 20 girls were waiting outside the theatre door in the cold. Katie and Isis recognised some of them from school. "I don't know why you're here," said Samantha to Isis. "My cat can sing more in tune than you can." And Isis smiled with her perfectly pearly teeth, quietly confident. You see, Katie had put a music spell on her. She used the grand piano in the music room at Isis's house. Katie sat down at it and played a weird and wonderful tune. Isis listened and gradually felt herself more and more enchanted. Then Katie played some notes and asked Isis to sing to them. She did and hit them perfectly. But when the stage door opened and they were led inside, Isis started to feel butterflies in her stomach. "Katie, I'm scared," she said. "I don't want to do this anymore. Let's go home." "Oh, don't be such a wimp," exclaimed Katie. "You begged me to do this. And if we run away now, Samantha will never let us forget it." "It's no use. I'm scared. I can't sing," cried Isis. So Katie touched her friend on the forehead and said a calming spell. "Better now?" she asked. "You bet. Let's go for it." Every girl had to sing a jazzy number because it was that sort of musical. "Next," called out a voice. Katie took a deep breath and walked onto the stage. She looked down at the audience. 3 judges in the 3rd row, 1 man and 2 women. They held notepads. "Name?" asked one of the women. "Katie," said Katie. The music began to play. She drew a deep breath and sang. And then she did a little dance and ended with a little bow. "Next," called out the woman. Katie walked off. And Isis walked onto the stage, smiling her prettiest smile at the director and the casting crew. This time, they did not ask her name. The director just nodded and said, "Start, please." "Super magic in the air, count on it, we make a pair. Super magic in the air, count on it if you dare. Super magic in the sky, shooting stars, love will rise. We like 2 moons of Mars, love you madly in the stars. Do you know what I'll do? I shall put a spell on you. Beautiful, but you're balmy. I will change you, rest assuredly. Magic, don't you see? Don't you dare mess with me. Your soul is mine, your heart, my design. You're my boy, you're my toy. I will break you, I will make you. I'm a witch." "Thank you, dear. Now, would you mind showing us how you can dance?" said the woman. So Isis did some moves that she had learnt in ballet class. And because she had received Katie's musical spell and a touch of confidence, she performed them perfectly. No 2 left feet this time. "Thank you very much, dear. We'll let you know." "Next." Isis smiled again, and Katie thought she really did have star quality. "They liked you better than anyone," she said to her friend. "Oh no, they were just being polite. You were the best." "Like I said, this part is made for you," replied Isis. She thought for a bit, and then she added, "By the way, I didn't know that the woman leading the audition was going to be my aunt. Imagine my shock when I looked into the footlights and saw her sitting so serious and taking notes on everyone." "Ah," said Katie, "now it all makes sense." That afternoon, the director, who was her aunt, called Isis to offer her the lead role of the singing witch. Samantha and Katie also received parts in the chorus line. As it turned out, when Katie read the script, the witch in the play was not at all like her. The theatrical witch was a decidedly bad witch. If you could imagine Samantha with magical powers, that would be her. The rehearsals soon began. 3 evenings a week. Each time, Katie always boosted Isis by playing the magical tune on the grand piano. And everyone, even Samantha, had to agree that her singing voice and dance moves were spot on. 6 weeks later, it was the opening night. Katie met Isis as usual at her house and played the magical music on her piano. But this time, Isis sat stiffly. She didn't look well. "It's no use," she said. "I can't do this. I've got stage fright. It's so bad, and I can't feel the spell. All I can hear is a throbbing sound in my ears, like swans beating their wings. You'll have to call the theatre and tell them, 'I'm sorry, I can't go on.'" "Nonsense," said Katie. Isis replied, "You could easily fill my shoes. You could even do real magic spells, and everyone would think it was part of the show." "This is not going to happen," said Katie firmly, "because you are going to get over this stage fright." "Well, in that case," said Isis, "I need some more magic than usual, because the normal dose isn't working." Now, Katie knew some spells for making normal magic twice or even 3 times more powerful, but she was reluctant to use it because such powerful doses of magic could be dangerous. Once, her great-aunt Chloe used the booster spell, then boarded her broomstick to take her to Clapham Common, and it flew her all the way to South Africa. But as Isis was in such a state of stage fright, Katie doubled the spell. Isis still begged for more magic, and against her better judgment, Katie made it even stronger. Isis, now brimming with confidence, smiled a big smile, already like a Broadway star. When they arrived at the theatre, they found everyone in a panic. Even the ice cream sellers were suffering from first-night nerves. The show was a sellout. The parents and relatives of 2 local schools had come to see the performance. It seemed like an eon until the curtain call. At last, the music struck up and the curtain rose to reveal the chorus. Supposedly kids at school, milling around and chatting. Katie and Samantha had a couple of lines to say, and they even got some big laughs. About 10 minutes into the play, Isis had her first big number. She sprang out of the crowd of schoolgirls and began to dance and sing. Super magic in the air, count on it, we make a pair. Super magic in the air, count on it if you dare. Super magic in the skies, shooting stars, love will rise. We'd like 2 moons of Mars, love you madly in the stars. Do you know what I'll do? I shall put a spell on you. Beautiful, but you're balmy, I will change you, rest assuredly. The magical boost was doing its trick because she looked more radiant than Katie had ever seen her. The notes seemed to flow out of her mouth with ease, and her dance moves were superbly fluent and springy. She even invented new moves on the spot. The boy playing Paul was having trouble keeping up with her. Then, with one enormous jump, worthy of the Russian ballerina Anna Pavlova, she flew into the air. Only she didn't come down. She carried on flying and screaming all the way into the seats on the upper circle, 30 feet above the stage. The audience, thinking it was all some stage trick, burst into applause, which drowned out poor Isis's screams. Little did they know that it wasn't stage magic, it was real magic. The director ordered the safety curtain down and ran up the stairs to the circle. There she found a shocked but unharmed Isis. "That was some leap," she said. I want to go home," stammered Isis.
I'm sorry, I can't go on.
The show was cancelled that evening, and the theatre had to refund all the tickets. What a disaster! It seemed like the curtain had fallen for the very last time. But Isis's giant leap had an unexpected benefit. When word got around, the story was in the local newspapers. And the next day, it was national. And then an international news item. The rest of the season was totally sold out. The show returned by popular demand. But Isis had had enough in the spotlight of stardom. She persuaded her aunt to give the lead part to Katie. Katie reluctantly agreed. And every night, just to keep the audience happy, she performed some impossible magic tricks, like jumping up in the air and disappearing, and then suddenly reappearing again. Or pulling a bunny rabbit out of her witch's hat. Or making the audience laugh when it really wasn't that funny. And after the show, everyone said Katie could have been a star, but she didn't quite like being in the spotlight all the time. Really, she was quite a private, shy witch, and a star in her own way. And that was the story of Katie and the Magic Theatre. And if you'd like to hear more Katie stories, please leave a comment on one of your favourite podcast apps. For now, from me, Natasha, bye-bye!